Hello guys, David Vose here. Oh my goodness, it's such a beautiful day here in Oklahoma. It's getting warm and the sun's out and it's a great day. Well, I got up this morning and got me a cup of coffee and a very nice gentleman called me and we had a little debate about whether or not there's a flat earth or a rounder. Actually, I guess it ended up being a debate. uh, I'm not sure. I'll let you guys listen. And without further ado, I'm going to show you the recording of the debate that I had this morning. The gentleman that I had the debate with, his name is Travis FINLEY, and he has a YouTube channel. It's called The Plain Truth. And so I'll put a link in the info box to his channel. And he'll probably have this debate over there as well. But I'm going to go ahead and let you listen to that, guys. And so without further ado, I'll let you hear what we discussed.
Okay, so I was given your video that you just put out a couple of days ago, and I started listening to it. I'm about 25 minutes into it, and I thought possibly it would be better to contact you by email because I don't really know how well you see my comments in the chat, but and I don't know anything about your format, so I don't know if you have guests on, but I would be more than happy to be a guest to address any issues that you would have to bring up that topic. Either both, because you do seem to be a Christian who believes that we are in the end times. I can also address my stance on that. So, a couple of different.
The what now?
The end times.
Oh, the end times. Okay. Well, I mean, are you recording this now? Did you want to talk it now, or what? It looks like you might be recording this now.
Yeah, I started recording again.
Yeah, that's what I figured. Well, go ahead. Yeah, you can use this if you want to record it, and just send me a copy.
Okay, well, I wasn't actually sure if you wanted me to have you on your show.
Well, I would put it on my show if you're recording it.
Oh, okay. Well, as it was your show that started the discussion, if you want to simply have me on your show,
yeah,
and that way it would be your content, that's fine with me as well.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to be all formal, everything. I mean, we've already started talking. I mean, if you want to continue, if you have time now, it's fine.
Yeah, I'm driving for the next 5 hours, so I'm a truck driver.
Sure, yeah.
So.
Well, we might go in and out or something if you're driving, but if so, you can call back or something.
Okay. Well, if you want
So you believe, now you're saying you do believe in the flat earth, right?
Yeah, it depends on how we want to spin that, that turn of phrase flat earth, because obviously I'm going down a grade right now. So we have topography. So the earth isn't...
Well, no, we don't have to bicker about that. We know there's mountains in the valleys.
Sure, well, you'd be surprised that there are certain people on your side that do bring that point up, and it's hard to take them seriously when that happens.
No, I don't think that's... It's because nobody knows what you're talking about when you say flat, because people have so many different versions of flat earth.
Right. So I think
there really isn't a model. There's just people fantasizing about the earth being flat. And they like the word flat, but if you were... I don't know how they're imagining this flat earth. First of all, they say that the flat earth has a dome, but if the earth was infinitely flat, there would be nowhere to put the sides of the dome.
Sure.
So that doesn't make sense.
Okay. All right. So I really, really wanted to have a fair and balanced discussion with you.
Sure.
So one of the things that I will try to call you up on at this point is I'm here talking to you, so I would have to not talk about they or them or other flat earthers.
Well, see, that's another. I believe that what you just did was a little bit of a trick as well, because there's a they or them, except for there is no they or them. It's just somebody starting one rumor here and another person starting a rumor there.
Okay.
There isn't any scientific evidence or scientific method. It's just a lot of people saying a lot of things. So
okay, well,
I'm perfectly you would expect me to think, what is it? Which side of the, what kind of fire are you talking about?
Okay, well, my point was that, because I haven't made any claims about the extension of the plane, I haven't made any claims about a dome, so those are not going to be my talking points.
Okay.
So,
why don't you describe then what you think about, the basic idea of what the shape of the Earth is?
So,
just kind of give us your thing.
Yeah, my basic approach is that I do believe that reality does present itself to us in a way that is not a sleight of hand. It is not an illusion. So we are able to study the natural world, and when we get into the discussion of cause and effect, which is a primary field of study in science with the natural world, I believe that those observations are empirical, they are sensible, and they are logical. So empirical meaning they are presented to us in a physical way that can be measured. And by sensible, we have our senses about us that we are able to take in that information and then run that through the grid of logic and present arguments or claims based on those observations. So I'm not going to make any claims about or against NASA or photos from space. I'm going to deal with things that, David, you and I are able to do on our own.
Sure.
Okay? So I think that science is very, very simple. I don't believe that we need convoluted mathematical expressions or equations to express what we see in reality. Does that make sense?
I see what you're saying, yeah.
Okay. So there is no reason for me to believe that I am moving on a location that is a spherical Earth, right? I'm in the middle of a field. I'm not moving. I'm standing still.
You're breaking up.
Okay. How's this? Is it any better?
I can hear you, but you're just kind of breaking up a bit. I don't have the best. I think what I might have to do is kind of walk over to another location where I have better signal.
No, it's probably me because, like I said, I am driving. But
okay.
That's a little bit of why I was wanting to offer up my being able to maybe talk to you at another time when I'm stationary. That is not driving, because that might be better for the both of us so that we don't have to wait for clarity to come up, but whatever.
Well, it's a good time for me right now. That's the thing, because I'm sitting here in morning time. I got my coffee.
Yeah, that's fine. I can appreciate that. Okay, so, again, my direct empirical experience is that I am standing on a surface that is stable and stationary. So I don't have anything in my direct empirical experience to tell me that I am the one in motion. So, if you want to go from there, because I based on that, I have absolute 100% verifiable, empirical, sensible, logical.
Well, let me ask you this. If you were on a boat, okay, but you didn't know you were on a boat.
Okay.
Let's say somebody kidnapped you and blindfolded you and took you to a boat and you didn't know. You had no idea, but the boat started rocking. You'd hear the seagulls. But you didn't have any verifiable proof, but you began to smell the scent of the ocean. Wouldn't you say, well, I don't know where I'm at because I'm blindfolded, so I'm going to have to guess. And in that case, you would take all the available evidence, for instance, the smell of the ocean or the rocking of the boat, and you'd begin to think, I think I'm on a boat.
Right.
So what I'm saying is you don't have to have what you consider empirical evidence. But the things fall to the ground is empirical evidence that something's happening. And so you have to decide why these motions and rotations and orbits and why the sun goes around every day.
David, hold on. So, first of all, I put myself out in a field. You put me blindfolded on a ship. Which would you like me to argue?
It doesn't matter. I'm just making the point that regardless of where you have to use whatever information you can, to understand where you're at.
Right, again, yes. So, I'm on a field.
Yeah.
I'm not on the ocean. I'm not blindfolded. No one kidnapped me.
No, but the Earth, when you're in the Earth, you're a bit blindfolded, since you can't tell if it's flat or round.
Again,
and you'd have to decide of some. You'd have to realize that there's probably some form that the Earth is in, even if you can't see it. So you'd have to kind of surmise, wouldn't you?
Okay.
Especially if you had evidence such as looking up and seeing that the sun goes around, comes up in the east and goes down in the west, and all the stars follow the same exact logic except for the north and south poles. You have to try and figure out some sort of explanation for that. And then people like Galileo and Copernicus took telescopes and they watched the stars as they rotated, and they found patterns that proved that we're spherical.
Right. Are you open to having a discussion, or do you want to dialogue?
Excuse me?
I said, are you open to having a discussion, or do you just want to?
I thought that's what we were doing.
No. You're not having a discussion right now. You're on a monologue. Because
I'm on a monologue. I thought you came to discuss this kindly.
There you go again.
But you're just,
why don't you bring up
maybe that
issue.
upsets you that I.
No, I'm not about
question, but
I'm trying to corral our discussion into a pointed discussion. Okay? If you would like to, why don't you bring up one issue that you would like to talk about? Because in your last talking point, you brought up numerous issues. Like, which one do you want me to address?
Okay, so what you want me to do is just sit here and listen to you. Okay, I will. Go ahead. You tell me what you think.
Okay, pretty sure I just asked you a question.
You just told me I wasn't allowed to talk.
Sir, let me restate what I just said. In your last talking point, you brought up any issues. Which would you like me to address? Because now I've asked you a question which gives you the ability to speak.
Well, it's kind of hard to speak when somebody's insulting you, so I don't know what you want me to. Your whole tone of voice is just completely. I think it's that you kind of got cornered with one of the things I was saying, and you just kind of you're trying to end this because you don't want to talk about this.
I am not trying to end anything.
If you give me a choice, then why did you take that choice away and not give it back to me? So now I'm allowed to talk? Is that what you're saying? Because I will talk now if you want me to. But if you still have something you want to say, go ahead.
Okay, this is what I would like to say. I would like to have an open and frank discussion.
We've said that. Did you say something? Then just tell me your side of the story and quit telling me how we're going to do this.
Really?
Okay, just tell me. What do you have to say, sir? What's your argument?
I asked you what point you would like me to address.
Okay, well, obviously, I've said that many times. The flat Earth.
Okay, yeah, and I brought up the point that when I am in an open field, then I do not have anything empirically in my experience to tell me that I am moving. What you did was give me a false analogy by placing me kidnapped and blindfolded on an apparent boat. Okay, so you moved me away from the parameters that I set up. So if you and I were in that same field, let's now have a discussion where we are in the field and you try to persuade me that I am the one that's actually moving.
Okay, well, I actually did answer that question, and I'll try to do it again.
Okay.
So, you're in the field, and you do not know from your vantage point if the Earth is flat or round.
Wait. Why are we talking about the Earth being round?
Are you going to let me... I don't know if you want me to say anything. Maybe you don't want me to talk.
Okay, listen. We're standing in a field. Where do you get the idea that the Earth is even round? We're standing in a field.
You're standing in a field, and so are you saying by standing in the field, you know that the Earth is flat?
I'm saying that as far as I can walk, I will continue to walk higher or lower, up a hill, down a hill, and then I come to different locations.
Okay, well, let me ask it this way. You're in the field, and you look up into the sky. Are you able to see the sky from where you're at?
Yes, sir. You and I are both there, so we can look up the sky.
Okay, and you could probably wait around until nighttime as well and look up as well, huh?
Yes, sir.
Okay, could you notice that the stars, the moon, and the sun all go around? They come up in the east and go down in the west. Do you notice that?
Yes, sir.
Do you notice as you look north, you see the North Pole that never really moves, just kind of wobbles over a period of months?
I've never seen Polaris wobble, but go ahead.
Well, you couldn't see it by just staring at it, but it takes months.
Oh, so, okay. Yeah, yes, I'm well aware of watching the sky. Yes, sir.
Okay, so the pole star doesn't move. And you can look, well, you can't see the southern hemisphere because it's down over the horizon here in the northern hemisphere. So when you look south, you never see a pole star from here, but in Australia they do. So in Argentina they do. And so this is how we know that Argentina is on the same end of the world as Australia.
Now you've taken us away from the field in which we are standing, right?
All right, so the point is, you would have to be stupid to not know that there's Australians in the world today. So we don't have to go back to caveman. We all know there's Australia.
Wait, hold on. Now, I have not gotten to the point of calling names. So are you, by implication, labeling me stupid?
I see what this is. You immediately came on here with a conference call without telling me, and I think you're trying to... This is great, because I don't think you're going to be able to embarrass me or anything like that, but
I'm not trying to embarrass you.
Okay. You've made sure that I wasn't able to even talk, because every time I make a point, you just make fun of me, and then you say, why do you make fun of me?
Oh,
now, I'm not making fun of you at all. I asked you a question. If you are in a field and you look up and you see the stars, then that is some sort of empirical evidence, isn't it?
Okay, again, so you asked a question as to whether or not I can see the sky move.
So I asked you, isn't it? That means yes or no.
Okay, can I clarify to make sure I answer your question correctly?
Okay, I don't think it needs clarification. I said if you look up in the sky, there's stars. Are there not?
Yes.
Do they not give you empirical evidence of something?
Yes.
Okay. Now, what do you think those stars tell you?
That they are
rotations. Okay, so what kind of law, what model do you have that tells me exactly why these things are moving?
Well, if I'm going to go by empirical data, all I can do is observe them with my eye. I cannot manipulate, test, or physically address those cause and effects. So all I can do and say to you is the sky is moving above our heads.
Okay. And you don't know why?
No.
You can't imagine why?
I can imagine, sure, but that's not science.
Okay. But what is your theory as to why they're moving?
I don't have any theories. They move.
Okay. So you are going to ignore the empirical evidence and just say, I'm in a field and I've got, I guess, blinders on. You don't want to pay attention to the empirical evidence. Such as of apples that falls to the ground. You're just going to ignore that.
Hold on. We're not talking about objects falling to the
Well,
ground.
you're in a field. There could be apple tree in the field.
Okay, if you want to address the physics of weight displacement, then that's your choice if you want to make that change in this discussion. So you and I are standing in the field, and you think that there is more information that you have to tell us more about the fact that the sky is simply moving above our heads. So I haven't denied anything empirically. I have
But I'm saying
hold on.
the empirical
hold on,
evidence gives you, you must come to a conclusion about that empirical evidence.
Hold on, please. I have empirical observations that the sky moves above my head. That's all the information I have. So my question to you, if you think that there is evidence that has more empirical evidence to give us more information, I would ask you, what evidence do you have that tells us that you actually know?
Sure, I can give you a good answer. So you're over here in the field, right? And that's all the evidence you have. Well, you probably aren't aware of it, but there's another group of individuals on the other end of the field. They've got a nice little home. They've got a thing called telescope, and they have been studying with better instruments and measurements. They have some empirical data that now proves the Earth is spherical. But you're in a field and you don't want to listen to them because you don't like them, or you don't want to look into the evidence that they have found, and you want to say, well, I don't want to listen because after all they're using evil telescopes, and no, I have to stand here in the field and make sure that the only thing I see is with my own two eyes, and stand here and say, well, there's evidently no way I'm going to be able to find a tool.
Okay, do you have any evidence right now? All you've done right now, you've created a story of these pretend people. So, once again, sir, for the cheap seats, what evidence do you have?
See, the problem is I'm not in a field, sir. I actually have telescopes. I have access to GPS and satellite imagery. I've got all kinds of things that prove the Earth is flat, but round. But you're trying to deny me of all of the tools that I have at my fingertips.
No. What evidence would you like to present to me?
I've tried to present whatever evidence you wanted, but you're just not liking it.
No, sir. Don't misunderstand cross-examination with not liking what you're saying. Okay.
The best thing we can do is talk without insults and just get our honest spiel. Now, here's the thing. You haven't given me anything yet. We've talked, I don't know, for 20 minutes. So what I'm going to just be quiet for a second and let you tell me why you think it's flat. I don't know what else to say. Or why you think these moon and the sun goes around the way they do. And you take the floor.
Yeah. All I'm going to do is repeat myself. So I'm in a field.
Well, that's not going to work, is it? You don't have any evidence. There's not much we can talk about, is there? If you're standing in a field and you don't have a telescope and you're not willing to use math, then how are we going to determine anything?
Okay. Once again, my direct empirical experience is that I am not the one moving. I look up into the sky and I see the sun, the moon, and the stars moving above my head. There's nothing to tell me empirically in my own experience that when I walk 500 miles, that I am walking over a spherical shape.
I see. So that proves it to you?
I'm telling you what lack of evidence I have.
So why don't you use the evidence that you might be able to acquire, such as math, telescopes,
Great. Give me
gyroscopes?
math. Okay, how about math? How about you give me one example of math that you would like to present that you think has empirical data?
Okay. Well, I can do it real quickly because it would take literally hours to give you all the information since Aristotle and Copernicus. But just maybe to make this, as easy to understand as you could. When the ancient ones looked up into the sky, they saw that they had perfect rhythms. So they knew the wind. They knew there was some force that was very accurate. It was a model that began to develop of planets and spheres spinning. They used telescopes to verify this with geometry, and then later on with Newton, they began to acquire another higher physics called calculus, which were able to make it more exact. But their measurements ended up coming out exactly. They could determine the rotation, how long it took for the sun to go around the Earth. They could count the days. It was 365 days. And what they found out was that the moon took 28 days. And then there was another thing out beyond the moon, like the Mercury, that only took 88 days. And then it went around. And then they found Venus, which took a year and, or about, I think it was about 200 and something days. And then they got to the sun, was 365, and then Mars was 2 years, point something. And then they found that these objects took longer to go around the Earth as further they went out. And then they got to the stars, which the ancient ones called the firmament, the beaten glass, crystal star, spherical, all the way around, like wheels within wheels. The ancient ones believed in this. And they said, man, it took the stars a long time because they could go, in 24 hours, they came back around. Everything did. So they knew the Earth had to spin 24 hours. But it took 2,000 years for each of these astrological signs to move from one house to the other. So all of this is empirical evidence that one was able to use because one could look up into the sky and with geometry and calculus find out that there is rotations, orbits, and distances. They speculated from that if the spherical objects, as they get further away, are going slower, that this like a vortice that the Newtonian physics states.
Can I stop you real quick, please?
Well, I'm almost finished. And the Newtonian physics states that action has an opposite reaction, and if you're going in a direction or speed or velocity, you will continue to go in that speed or velocity, in the same direction forever until acted upon by another force. So the force of the vortice begins to weaken on the outside, or radiation waves begin to weaken, and then they, you see a rock, you put a rock in the water and the ripples go out, but they weaken as they go out. So this is why the force of this rotational vortice that's going, all of the planets going around and around, it seems to weaken as you go further and further out, where it meets the outer space. So they had these theories based on this empirical evidence.
Okay, so again, all you've done right now is you've told me the story that we all heard in high school and middle school. So you've described how they interpreted what they saw. You brought up distances, you brought up orbits, you brought up spheres, okay? Again, you brought up many, many talking points where you just simply retold your model.
Yeah.
Okay, so would you like to just please pick one point that you would like to empirically argue?
I've tried that. I said, tell me about the motions of the planets, and you said there's no way for you to know, so I don't know what we can talk about. You don't have any evidence one way or the other.
Motion of what planets? What are you talking about?
All the stars and planets and the moon.
Okay,
why are they? What law, what model do you believe in that says this is why they do this?
Okay, so I again said that I cannot go up into the sky and manipulate or test what is up there. So all I can do is give.
I'm not asking you to do that. From your field, look into the sky, and when the moon goes around, you can measure its speed. You know it takes 24 hours for the sun, moon. I
can't measure. No, sir. Objection. I cannot.
When the sun.
Objection. I cannot measure the speed of the moon.
Yes, you can.
What variable?
Maybe you don't understand calculus and geometry.
Question. Okay. Yeah, I have a question. What
Before you ask the question, you can't just say that. It's not. Expect me to not. The sun goes around the Earth every 24 hours. Does it not?
Wait. The sun goes around? No, not from where I'm at. I just see it go over my head.
Okay, but it comes back every 24 hours, does it not?
I think it comes back every 12.
Well, no, it comes back every 24 hours.
Okay, so if the sun goes up, so if it comes up at 6 o'clock in the morning, it comes back around at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, but I don't have the measurement of 24 hours. I don't know where you get that designation.
Okay, well, if you didn't have the English language, you didn't know what 24 meant, you'd still know that the sun comes up every morning. You could call that in whatever language you wanted to, but you'd know that that sun is coming up every morning. Once you're in the field without language, and I don't think that would be possible.
You don't think what would be possible?
That you would be standing in a field as an adult without a language.
Yeah, I didn't say anything about not having a language. It's really interesting how you put words into my mouth in this discussion.
You said there's no way to know time, and that's not true. If you have a language.
Listen, I did not say there's no way to have time. I did not say that.
Okay, well, maybe you need to explain again what you said.
Listen, there are so many rabbit trails that you bring up in terms of...
You don't like to be boxed into an answer. That's why we're having a problem. You don't want to be specific because you know you're wrong.
Oh.
And you don't like that.
Oh, really? Tell me more about what's inside my head.
No, I don't feel like doing that. I don't need your insults. If you called me to talk about this, then please just answer the question, sir. Why does the moon and the sun and the stars go around? And you can have the floor. Now you go ahead and explain it. And if you don't have an explanation, then you lose. You don't have a model of the Earth that's flat. And that is just the cold hard fact.
Again,
if you don't have a model, you don't have a model. You don't have to be person. I don't blame you. Okay. But just say, I don't have a model. But in my own little fantasy, I am standing in the field, and I'm going to just continue to say, the Earth is flat.
Okay.
Now, I'm not trying to insult you, but this is getting so childish that I don't know how else to explain this to you.
Okay.
Now, if you want to have the floor and give us an explanation, go ahead.
Yeah. Once again, I have talked about my observation of the ground upon which I'm standing. You have redirected our attention to the sky above our head, which has no bearing on the shape of the Earth. It happens to be a phenomenon that we can see. We can watch the zodiac rotate. We can watch the 7 planets, or the 7 wanderers, the Sun, the Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Neptune, and Jupiter. We can see them all. How
do you know that planet's called Jupiter without any books or knowledge or wisdom or scientists?
How would you
created language?
Okay. How would you like me to refer to these objects?
No, I don't care. I know that it's Jupiter. I didn't know that you knew that because you didn't go by knowledge.
Oh.
You didn't know language and stuff, so you wouldn't know that it's Jupiter.
So can I?
How do you know that that's the moon anyway?
So
in your world?
Can I call it the sun then, sir?
You could call it whatever you. It's your beliefs.
Oh,
what do you want to call it today?
Why didn't you?
You want to call it the sun, or do you want to call it?
Out? Why didn't you?
No, I'm just asking.
No, you're not. No, you're not.
Yeah, I am. I'm asking you what is your. And we've talked for, 30 minutes and haven't given me an explanation, no model whatsoever. You're saying there's no evidence, and so therefore nobody knows, I guess. I don't know.
Great. Would you like me to go back into our discussion and pull up...
All I want you to do is answer the question. That's it.
Hold on.
Give me some evidence that the Earth is no, wait, don't say C. I'm asking you, give me and nothing else. Just give me your evidence why the Earth is flat. Go.
The Earth isn't flat.
Oh, that's your evidence?
No, the Earth isn't flat. We have topography.
Okay, forget the play on words.
Okay?
So you don't believe in the flat Earth now? I don't understand.
Okay. The Earth is not a globe.
Okay. What shape is it?
What do you mean, what shape is it? Why would I think the Earth has a shape?
Well, okay, so give me the evidence for your no shape no shape model.
You want me to give you evidence of a negative claim? There is no Santa Claus. You would like me to prove
You're the one who said you don't have the evidence. I don't know what to do with you because you don't have evidence and you don't want to...
Sir, please go back into our discussion and find where I have literally said there is no evidence.
I just asked you to give me your evidence and you said there is none. I did that twice.
No.
All you have to do... Okay, let's stop the semantics. Do you have any information that would prove to you or me that the Earth is flat? Go. This is the fourth time now I've tried it.
I'm standing in a field. And as I walk along the way for miles and miles and miles, my elevation changes. That is all the information I have.
That is not all the information you have unless you're blindfolded and down in a tunnel.
I'm pretty sure that I was talking and you ejaculated in the middle of my sentence.
Okay, that's pretty gross.
No, it's not. It's actually a very common term for speaking.
You're never going to have an art conversation, are you? You're just going to sit and insult and go around and around and around and around and around and around and around, aren't you?
If you would like
I'm trying very kindly to let you speak, but you will not. You say you don't have any information.
Did you interrupt me?
Insult me.
Did you interrupt me a moment ago?
Is that how you want to win, by proving to everyone that I interrupted you a second ago when you've interrupted me about 27 times since you started it?
So that's a concession that while I was
speaking... Okay, do you want me to apologize? I'm sorry, sir. Now you have the floor. Explain it.
I'm standing in the field, and I move from one location to the next. All I know is that I have moved from point A to point B over a distance of, say, 30 miles.
Mm-hmm.
Now, along that way, the topography has changed. My elevation has increased and decreased. That's all I know. So, again, if you would like to present to me your personal empirical argument that you would like me to consider, that along the... Hold on. That along the way from point A to point B, I have moved over a spherical surface.
Mm-hmm.
What evidence
I can do that. I can do that. Right. Okay. What you don't understand is that about half mile down the road from the field, there's a town. They've got libraries. They've got books. They've got telescopes. They have math. And there's schoolrooms where you can learn this stuff. Okay, so now I come to you from town, and I say, oh, Mr. I forget your name. What's your name? Travis. I say, Mr. Travis, we have schools, and we've got scientists and traditions that we've built science from observations for thousands of years. It's in ancient esoteric wisdom and all the ancient literature. And you've been out here like a caveman. I guess you're just living in a field. I mean, you don't have any of these comforts. And I take you to town, and I show you what a bed looks like, and explain to you how we made the round.
Objection, Your Honor. The witness is rambling on in a monologue that has no evidence whatsoever. He's telling me a story, Your Honor.
That's the only thing you would
asked him for direct empirical evidence
I gave it to you
himself. No, you haven't.
The school, the math, the telescope,
that is
the
not
sky, the stars,
not
the speed, the rotation, the orbit,
empirical evidence, David.
Gravity.
You have
all empirical evidence.
You have no direct empirical evidence.
Yes, I do.
What is your personal
told you.
No, you're appealing. You are appealing, like you said. You are appealing.
I gave you the evidence, and you don't want to hear it.
No,
you want to
you
argue and
are
insult me.
appealing to a body of science and tradition. Those two words, science and tradition, came out of your mouth. You are
Well,
appealing
friends,
to
if you've ever wondered if flat earthers are irrational or not, and here you go.
You are appealing to the library in Alexandria when I'm asking you.
So you want me to prove that the Earth is round without any ancient scientists or a pre-knowledge, or I've got to stand in the field and I can't leave?
I can do that. I can do that. That's what you asked me for. I gave you
No. You
my-
want me to give you what...
That's all you can give me.
No, let me finish. So you want me to imagine I'm in a field and I can't leave the field, and whether or not from that point I could discover the Earth is round?
No.
Probably not. Probably
I'm
you're
asking
right.
you-
There would not be any way to prove the Earth is round if I was standing in a field like a caveman.
Great.
If I didn't have the ability as a smart intellectual person to invent a telescope or invent math and look at the observation of the rotations and orbits of planets.
Great. So, hold on. So, please, give us one talking point. Just one.
I just gave you a couple.
No. Limit yourself. Govern yourself to one point. Take us out of the field. I don't care. Good.
Okay.
Take us out of the field and present one argument.
Okay, I think I did already a few times, but I'll do it
No,
again.
you didn't. No, listen, you didn't. You monologued and told a story with numerous talking points.
Because it doesn't seem like you understand anything unless you explain very simply.
I do understand things. Okay. I do. Clearly.
Okay. So I'm. Excuse me. I won't. I tried to use an illustration that you would understand, but I don't know what other kind of illustration you're going to be able to understand.
I don't want an illustration, sir. I want empirical data.
That's what empirical data is. It is a way to communicate with you, but you don't understand, science. So I've got to talk in a language that you understand.
Okay, great. Go.
Okay, so I would use the evidence at hand. Okay, I would see the moon going around, and I would gauge that it comes around 20. Eventually, I couldn't do it all by myself. I'd have to, over a period
Okay,
of
you're
months,
monologuing again.
Huh?
Just tell us about measuring the moon, okay? You brought up the moon, so don't go anywhere else. Now, you are observing the moon. Go.
Are you going to let me talk now?
That's what go means.
Oh, I'm allowed to go now? All right, hang on. Maybe you won't cut me off if I try it. So, I'm looking at the sky, and I see that the pole star doesn't move.
Pole star! You're fucking talking about the pole star now! What the fuck is wrong with you?
Oh, I guess there's something bad wrong with me, sir. Because I like
You were talking
information
about
and
the
truth.
moon! You were talking about the moon! Talk about the moon! You said you looked up and see the moon moving across the sky. I clearly gave you the open door to start talking about the moon, and
I
you
was
went
trying
to
to,
the
but you've
pole
yelled at me
star.
and screamed at me now for about 5 minutes.
The pole star. No, that was not 5 minutes. Trust me.
Okay,
Are you gonna
am I allowed to
argue?
continue?
I don't know. How many fucking points are you going to bring up?
Oh. Well, I'm going to bring up
Oh.
a fucking point that you can understand if you'll listen.
A fucking choose one, dude. Okay. Are
Okay,
you
why
gonna
don't
talk
you
about
stop
the pole
cussing and just listen?
Star? Are you gonna
I'm
talk
trying
about
to be
the
very
pole star?
patient.
Are you going to talk about the pole star?
I'm going to talk about the moon.
Go.
Go, buddy. So, I look at the pole star, it doesn't move. And then I look at the moon, and it goes around every 28 days. And then I say, well, what else is going around? So I look at the stars, and I see they're all going in symmetrical patterns around and around and around. I notice that there's two variables. One would show one motion, and another would show another motion. I see everything, whether it's the moon, the sun, or the stars, all takes 24 hours to go around. So I know that's one movement. 24 hours, I may not know what it is, but I know that it's something's causing everything to go around. I wouldn't know from that
Wait.
whether
How
I'm
do you
going
know
around them.
something's causing? Wait. How do you know something is causing anything to happen?
I'm sorry, I don't understand what you're saying.
Okay. So again, you're bringing up the celestial bodies. Okay, I appreciate that. I don't need you to bring up all of the celestial bodies. Just choose one. 28-day cycle. That's fine. I'm good with that. 14
So
days.
you want me to explain?
Hold
Okay,
on,
what
hold
you
on,
want is
hold
me
on.
to explain the Earth is
Hold on.
round with my
Hold on.
hands tied behind my back.
Okay.
Okay, I'll do it. You want one leg too? I'll tie up one leg and put two hands and all the knowledge and empirical evidence I have. I'll throw it all away, and I'll argue that the Earth is round from me just as a caveman standing in the field. Give me a second, and I'll come up with something.
Okay, listen.
Without any other evidence that I'm allowed to use as a human being.
Again.
So the only way I can prove, the only way that I can, I'm allowed to find out whether the Earth is flat or round or triangular is if I'm standing in the field, and that's all I've got. So I'm standing in a field, and from my field vantage point, I see the pole star doesn't move, and I see the stars go around. I would have to believe from that there is some motions, and if everything above me is going in unison, then it has to be the Earth spinning.
How do you draw the conclusion that the Earth is the one in motion and not the stars?
Well, you wouldn't know that, would you?
No, I asked you how you would. It's got
You
nothing
wouldn't
to do
know
with
that.
me, sir.
No,
I'm
no one
asking
would know
you.
that. I would not know that because if I would need time, and this is why we have tradition, and we had God who wrote it down in the esoteric wisdom to start with, and in the pyramid walls and the hieroglyphics and the cuneiform stones from Babylon and Samaria. But if we ignore all the ancient, our fathers, I know how to build a house as my father taught me.
Tradition!
Now, if you want me to learn how to build a house without a father, I might not be able to, or without teachers.
Great. Okay, can we get back to, again, how you...
No, I don't know what, I don't want to get back to anything. You're not having a conversation with me.
I know I am. I am actually trying to get you back from your monologue again.
I'm not, what's the word monologue? That's ridiculous. This is, first of all, you called me, and you asked me a question, and you haven't allowed me to answer. And when I did, you wanted me to tie my hands behind my back.
I gave you the opportunity to have this on your show.
You interrupt me an awful lot, and yet you give me
Really?
to you.
Really? Okay, that's where we're going to go with this after all of this?
Yeah, I guess that's what you've done.
Okay,
I don't know. You've got my hands behind my back, now you want me to put a blindfold on.
I actually have
to prove it.
Listen, how did you get to make the claim that the Earth was moving and not the heavens above? Because you just made the claim.
Three
you
times.
Just made the claim.
I just told you 3 times.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did. I said I wouldn't know, would I?
Then how did you make the claim?
I didn't make the claim of the shape of the Earth. I told you that there was empirical evidence that the Earth spins. Because I'm only allowed to be in a field.
I said, no, I said like minutes ago, take us away from the field. I gave you complete freedom to do that.
Okay.
Okay, now, let me read.
Well, then I would probably do what I said. I would go get the ancient fathers, my dad, and I would ask him, and he'd say, well, his dad said it was round. And his dad said it was round. I'd say, Dad, how do you know that? Well, Aristotle, he sat me down. He said, son, Aristotle put a stick, Sosthenes put a stick in the ground, and there was a shadow. Now, if the Earth was flat, the shadow would never change.
Wait, hold on. Wait. Okay, listen. Right now, you've just gone now to an anecdote. So are you going to now argue sticks in the ground? Or can we go back to your claim that it is the Earth that is in motion, right? I'm asking you again, what evidence did you have to determine that it was not the sky in motion, but the Earth?
Well, it wouldn't take much for me to start noticing, like when I opened the barn door, that the dust, when low pressure came into the barn, and the little whirlwind would create a dust storm. And I would start to think, well, maybe we're all just flying around and nobody's going around anybody. I don't know what I would think, because I would need years of ancient, traditional scientific method to find out the accurate truth. Just like, for instance, if I wanted to know how far it was to the top of the mountain, I would need my own observable. I couldn't tell you other than, well, it took me an hour to walk up there maybe, and if I didn't have a clock, I wouldn't know what an hour was. So I would need these tools methods that my ancestors had given me in order to do this. This is why we grow in our knowledge, and it increases, and we learn things. So perhaps a caveman in the field wouldn't know all of the particulars. He would definitely know something was moving. That's my answer.
Okay. So, in all honesty,
I didn't realize it was funny. I realized that was a funny answer, but, you know, I thought it was pretty serious.
Oh, absolutely not. You have only appealed to the past, things that you would still have to verify and test for yourself, unless you are simply happy to believe whatever narrative you are presented with.
Well, it's not quite like that. You know, when you learn your ancestors, your fathers, your mothers, your brothers in school and everything else, and your Bible and everything tells you Earth is round, then when you look up into the sky from the field, you may not be able to know that yourself, but you know what others believed for thousands of years, and then you imagine the world the way they told you, and then it seems to make a lot of sense, so you go with that. Then, over a period of time, you make some empirical experiments, and you determine that this part's true, or that part may not be, or whatever.
Instead of continuing to monologue about a hypothetical situation, I'm asking you, and you still haven't done anything but appeal to tradition, textbooks, and religious books. You, sir, have not provided anything that you...
Yeah, I have, because I explained why I did that. I explained it very carefully. I said if I was a caveman, I wouldn't have that information.
Okay,
you want to so as a caveman, Terrence, or what's your name? Travis, you're the caveman because that's from your, you don't want to have any tools or any knowledge or any
When
books.
did I say I don't want to have any tools?
You said I have to determine just as a caveman, not as a
When did
scientist.
I ever use the term caveman, sir?
Okay, field man. Excuse me.
When did I ever use the term field? See, listen, the beauty of this being recorded is that the absurdity of your argumentation is patently...
Well, why in the heck would you want to talk to an absurd person?
I didn't know you were this absurd.
Okay.
Yeah, I knew it from listening to your show for 25 minutes. Right?
Yeah.
So you can go ahead and go to my comment, because my comment was very placid. Okay, my comment was not vitriolic. I made two particular comments about things that you said. Okay,
what does that have to do with what we're talking about here?
Because you said, why would I call to have an argument with someone so absurd? And I'm answering you. I didn't know you were this insane.
Okay. So my argument is just absurdity. That
your argument
science and math.
Your argument is non-empirical. You're not giving me any science that you can produce.
I just did, but you just keep denying it, so I don't know what to say.
appealing. You are appealing to the science of others.
I told you there is... The reason we believe the Earth is round isn't because I stood in the field and looked up. It's because I stood in the field and looked up, and with that and my ancient ancestors and tools and math, I was able to determine over periods of years. You cannot know that the Earth is round or flat by standing like flat earthers want you to. They're demanding that you must make a decision by just going out in the field and standing there and ignoring all the civilization.
That was a starting point. That was a starting point for you and I to scientifically... Hold on. That was a starting point for you and I to scientifically begin our investigation of the nature of the world upon which we live.
You know, but it would be better if you would allow me to make my points, and I'll let you make yours, and not just sit there and cut me down every time I've made a point.
Cut you down. Yeah.
And mock me. So if you want to do that, we can do that.
No, I don't want to do that. I'm actually perfectly capable of having a grown-up conversation.
Okay, well then let's just pretend that none of that ever happened, and we'll just start being civil. Want to do that?
Okay. Yeah, great. How about how about based on all of this, if you would like me to be on your show, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you control the platform, you control it all, we can start all over again. You pick
No,
the time.
I want to publish what we've already said. Now let's continue. If you're embarrassed by what you've already said,
Trust me, sir. I am not embarrassed.
Okay, well, I would like to publish what we've just said, because I think it makes the point that I think it makes the point that I want to make. There's no way to argue with people who believe it's just flat.
Wait. You said, I'm sorry, you broke up. You said there's no way to argue with the point you're what?
I don't think there's a way to argue with a group of people who will not listen to reason.
Again, I'm not asking.
That's not yours.
I'm not asking.
That was my argument.
I'm not asking you to appeal to tradition or science of the past.
But why do you get to tell me what I get to appeal to? Why do you get to tell me my argument and what I need to say?
Can I answer your question?
Yeah, I'm just asking a sincere question. You don't have to say that. Just answer.
I was trying. You just kept repeating yourself.
Well, why don't you say it now instead of arguing? That would be good if you just go ahead and answer me, but you probably forgot the question.
What was the question?
I forgot to.
Yeah. If you're interested, my channel has many.
If I'm interested, I'm here now. Give me your information.
Wow.
I'm right here just giving your information. And no wows and no insults. Just tell me, go.
It's too much information to unpack right now. I'm just simply giving you a reference point to see the observations that I personally have made in the past for myself.
How do we have a debate if you don't want to give me your argument?
What?
How are we going to have any kind of discussion or debate if you won't give me your argument? Your theory, your reason, your empirical evidence. From what I can see, and I don't know if you meant to do that, but at this point you've said you don't have any one way or the other, and I don't know what that means. Why did you call me? You believe obviously in the flat Earth and not the spherical one. You don't believe in the globe. Okay, so why then, if you believe in the whatever it is shape that you have, it's not a globe. Why
I don't
is
believe
it you
yours
don't
has a shape, sir.
Okay, but why is it you won't accept any evidence? Why is it you want to just live in a field?
Okay, again, I don't have any reason to attribute to the Earth a shape.
But you do.
I do. I have.
Yes.
I have reason. Okay.
Yes.
So great. What reason would that be?
As I said, the methods of scientific study and research.
No. Okay. Choose one of those methods, please. Which one would you like to describe and argue for?
Anyone you want. Anyone you want.
This is your argument.
There is no other argument.
Listen.
Look, if you're going to build a house, would you not need a tape measure and a plumb line and a level and a hammer?
Yeah. Hold on. Good. Tape measure, plumb line, and not the hammer. What was the other thing you said? Tape measure.
I said a hammer.
No,
a level, plumb line.
Level. Okay, great. I can work with those three tools.
And a square.
Okay, I can work with those four tools. Great. Okay, great. I believe those four tools can also be used to determine distance and topography. Okay?
Yeah.
We can determine what level is, we can determine what elevation is, and we can determine what distance is, right? We got a tape measure for distance, we've got a level for horizontal, and then we've got a plumb line for plumb, and then we've got the square for 90 degrees. Okay?
Yeah.
I am perfectly happy
Go.
to hear how you would use those four instruments to argue for whatever
we're out of the
like
field now. We've got some tools, right? Right?
Yep.
Okay, so we're going to build a house. Now, we take the plumb line, we make sure that the wall is perpendicular, and the floor and the roof is level, and all of these things, and we use the hammer to put the nails in and to build the house.
Okay, sir. I clearly took the tools in your analogy of house building and asked you to argue your case for the claim that you have about the shape of the...
Oh, no. We're talking about different houses. That's put a plane and a level and a saw and a hammer, and that's what that does. Those are tools to build houses.
Okay, sir, I eliminated the hammer and the saw.
Okay, no saw and a hammer, we can't build a house.
We're not... Okay, really? Okay,
yeah.
Listen
well, you could build a lean-to or use rope, I suppose.
Okay,
but
listen very carefully.
You have to have some tools to build the house.
Okay, listen very carefully, please. Do you believe that those 4 tools are enough for you to argue that you think the earth has a shape?
Those tools are used to build houses, not to discover what size the earth is or anything. You can't measure the size of the earth with a measuring tape.
Okay, I didn't ask you
so
about
that was
size.
An illustration that we need tools, sir. And the tools that I would need, yes, and the tools that I would need to discover what shape the earth was, I'd need a telescope. I would need math.
Sir, why would you look in the opposite direction of the thing you're trying to determine?
Well, because it's opposite direction. What do you mean?
I'm asking you about
we're floating in the universe.
You asked me a question. I began to answer, and you ejaculated again. Okay? I'm going to answer your question. Are you still there?
I'm here.
Okay. We are talking about determining the nature of the ground upon which we are standing. My question to you is, why are you looking 180 degrees away from that thing that you're trying to determine and measure and understand?
Okay. I think that's a pretty obvious question. I'm not sure why you're being redundant or what, redundant, but rhetorical or whatever, I guess is what you're doing.
It's not rhetorical, sir.
Yeah, well, I don't know why you want to. I don't even know what you. I'm speechless. What do you want me to do? You won't let me talk. You won't let me give you my arguments. You want me to tell you what you want to hear. I don't really know what to say. I mean, you tried so many times. I offered that you give me your evidence. You said you don't have any.
I don't know what to say. It's very obvious to me. You don't know what to say.
Now, I don't know what to say to somebody who won't listen to the truth or evidence.
Okay, great.
I don't know what to say.
Great. Why?
I care about you. I'm not mad at you, but this situation, this tense argumentation is just kind of something that, it gets on a person's nerves when somebody just badgers them and insults, and I apologize if I sound a little, annoyed, but listen, I'm trying to very earnestly and sincerely get somewhere. We haven't even got past the field. I don't know. Everything I say, you mock it, and I don't think it's just and correct.
Great.
I don't think it's right the way you're arguing there.
This is another claim that you have made about my treatment of you. We're mocking you, right? I haven't mocked you in the past 5 or 10 minutes. Now, there were times when I got, there were times when I got a little bit feisty. I will admit that, okay? But I'm not mocking you right now. My last question to you was not in derision. Listen.
But you're asking the question that's stupid because you know that I can't do it from the field by myself.
No,
I've given you illustrations.
No, sir. I believe that you can determine the nature of the ground on which... Okay, listen. Can I please finish my statement? Is your silence acquiescence?
You like to waste time, don't you? Just tell me.
I'm trying.
I mean, I guess it's not a waste of time, but it's very annoying that you keep doing this. Just, okay, try to calm down and see if you can get back on point.
Okay, back on point. I do believe that you have it within your ability and your wherewithal to use simple tools like a plumb and tape measure and a level to understand the nature of the ground upon which you are standing. You can do that. You don't have to look to the sky. All you have to do is focus on the ground upon which you are standing. Now, unfortunately, I have to call my dispatcher back because I've ignored my dispatcher's call numerous times, and I'm going to be a bad little boy. So, again, feel free to use this recording however you would like.
You'll have to send it to me or something because I don't have any way to record it.
Okay, that's fine. My point is, if you publish and your audience is interested in having you and I together on a show,
I'm sure they will.
Yeah, I would be more than happy to do this again. Okay?
Okay. But I'd like to publish what we've already done.
Well, that's fine, and then see what happens. And
if it's not long enough, you can call me back whenever you want, and we'll do it again. But send me. I don't know how you can send this. I've never, I'd like to upload this on my channel, so I don't know how.
Yeah, it's not difficult. It's not difficult.
Okay.
Listen. We jumped into this pretty quick, so I do apologize for not telling you that it was being recorded because I did have the intention of telling you ahead of time, and
I already knew. But
no, it's got nothing to do with whether or not you knew. Okay, I'm saying to you that when I do record conversations, it is my practice to tell the person.
Okay.
And so I'm saying to you that I apologize.
No
I
problem.
didn't do that right away at the beginning of our conversation.
I don't mind at all.
Because I wasn't actually planning on talking to you. I thought it was going to be a recorded message. So at the last minute...
This is a good way to start the debate, and we'll have another one. Just send that one to me, and we'll get started.
Yep.
And I appreciate you, friend, and I really do appreciate your call and the debate.
All right. We'll talk soon.
All right. Thank you, brother.